This video is about social conscience, maybe a bit of political conscience. Now, because it's got social conscience, it's more about the centre left, liberal left, or the far left, and but just worth noting that when I'm putting like that, some people it's just an identity vibe. This exists on the right as well. Every single last bit. Because if you look at some neutral political textbooks that are just giving out political ideology, even though the right and left shout at each other these days about, oh, you're just all about identity. On the right, some of it is meant to be about identity. I think they forget that when these arguments come up. They're meant to identify with stuff like their party or with their nation, stuff like that. And like, and then they're like, forget this, and like the slack left, oh, it's just about identity politics for you lot. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, how can you say that? It's so hypocritical. So don't let the right get away with that. I mean, both sides play power identity vibe stuff on the centre left and the right. Because the other day I made a video and I was going on about how the likes of I don't know, JFK is like identity power, an appeal to authority. You can put it like that. I just have to put that way, isn't it? And it's just that appeal is just identification. It just makes you a fake. All you're doing is attaching your ego to these power things, power symbols. So both sides play that, and it makes you ask, where is the principle? Now, a lot of people do have principle because they just think about life as something like getting money to people. I mean, that's it. They're not faking anything else. That's all it is, something like that. Or maybe it's like getting healthcare in the United States, access to uni education in the past, and there is principles, but there's also when people become staunch this or that. I take that staunch as meaning destroying principle and just identifying with this, and that's it. And it's an identity politics on both sides. Now, a social conscience is an example of this because it brings into question, if you're saying, oh, it's just an identity vibe, whether the social conscience is genuinely real or whether it's fake. Now, I tend to think that on the system left, it's fake, completely fake, because they're just so much willing to give up everything for power, just like the right, they're just identifying with their stuff, and they've got almost, I think they've almost an ideology about it. But the system left, when they move to the right, they start developing that same mindset, and it becomes just fake for them as well. So then it's just the vibe. This means that the only principled position is more or less to be on the left, genuinely, because that gets rid of all the excess power, and all the excess power creates corruption, and when you've got corruption, you haven't got anything principled or genuine, authentic, or healthy. We've just got an oligarchy in the UK. Billionaires own the politicians, billionaires own the news media, billionaires own the news people's minds, and this therefore corrupts the whole of society. And only a few stand firm, keeping genuine. I don't mean the centre left, they're fake, just like the right. I mean the far left are the only ones who are being genuine. The only ones who will have equality, which gets rid of the excess inequality, which creates the propaganda, which the propaganda can exploit, and then it's all messed up completely. It all becomes chaos. It all becomes fake. That's why I say that the local news media should be the height of the news media, because they're not guilty. There's no propaganda corruption there. But if there is, it's very rare and it's very little. At the top, when you've got multinational Murdoch Press and other billionaire-owned news media networks, with other ones, then that becomes like spin. They're just putting out their agenda, their ideology, just like, I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't most people do in their position? You see what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying that that what they're doing is sort of like abnormal. I'm saying it's more like it shouldn't be normal, but it is. Wouldn't we all do it? Sort of attitude if we're in their position. But it's still corrupt. It's still corrupt. That doesn't change the fact that it's corrupt. That you to have a megaphone to the whole of society and to just like bend it to your will, unelected, and while other people can't do that at all, there's no one near equality of power. There's no effort to redistribute it either. But everyone knows power corrupts. So we all know it goes on. We all know that is how it is. And I'm claiming that the far left are the only ones who are genuine and legitimate and are not corrupt. What the propaganda matrix is, as I've said in recent videos, is a complete collective scam. I think I've got a note here. That's somewhere somewhere. I'll read it out. I don't need to show you the note. It's stuck on my wall. I've titled the little note "Non-Tribal Class War." I think you can see a video of it just to prove that I said this a few days back, whatever. And it says, "Seeing through scams is not a tribal thing. Therefore, seeing through the elite's scam propaganda matrix is not a tribal thing." I claim only the far left are to be trusted on this. End the video. I've got nice and quick to the point, and I'm glad I finished on that note.